Hi everybody, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of the Crafty Geek. Now, I did say that last time we were going to cover props, but I'm actually going to hold that off on one episode. If you remember last time, I mentioned or made this little statement. If you want your table to have that little extra experience while you're doing it, make sure you get yourself a Bluetooth dongle that can hook up to a Wii remote, and you can do a little fun thing with a Wii remote and an IR pen to make your table interactive. So now what I was talking about there was actually a Wii interface for our tabletop maps. So that's what I'm going to cover today because I didn't really go into too much detail about it, and it's kind of a cool craft project to do. Okay, so now to pull this project off, you're going to need a couple of items. One of the items you're going to need is a Bluetooth dongle. Now you're going to need to make sure that the Bluetooth dongle can actually connect to a Wii remote. And there are lots of sites out there you can check just to see if your dongle does. Now, I just happen to have this one here for another Bluetooth device that we were using around the house, and it actually works really well. The next thing you're going to need is an IR pen. Now, this is one that I created, and we're going to go over that in a little bit more detail here in a little bit. But what an IR pen does is it just creates a light that the actual eye can't see, but you on the camera, you can see it flashing. The next thing you're going to need is a Wii remote. Now make sure that you're actually using a true Wii remote. Don't use the generic Wii remote because it won't work as well. And the last thing you're going to want to do is something to mount the Wii remote on so that way it can be stable and see the screen that you're trying to project it upon. So what I did is I actually used an old car adapter for holding a phone. It doesn't really hold my phone anymore, but it's going to work really well with a piece of Velcro on it to hold the Wii remote in place. Now the IR pen, I'm not going to go in and show you in detail how I constructed it because there's already a lot of videos out online that you can find to get all the information you need. So the IR pen is really simple construction. What you're going to need is you're going to need some wire. 2 colors is preferable. Standard AA battery. A momentary switch. Now this one is different than the one that I actually used, but it's still the same concept. An IR light. Now make sure it's an actual IR light, not an LED, because the Wii remote will only see the IR light. And the last thing you're going to need is a hollowed out highlighter. Now you could use something a little bit bigger, but you don't really need all that space. And the last thing, of course, you're going to need your soldering iron. Once you put all those things together, you end up with your IR pen. Okay, so for the next step in this process, you're going to want to pair your Wii remote with your Bluetooth dongle. Now, it's different depending on what Bluetooth dongle you use, so I'm not going to show you how I set mine up. It took a little bit of work for me to figure mine out, actually. Good luck to all of you, and hopefully you have a little bit better luck than I did. But now I've kind of gotten the hang of it, so it's pretty easy. So here we have the Bluetooth and the Wii remote already synced up. Now, the next thing that we're going to need to do is place our Wii remote where it can see the board. Now we need a program to run all this. There's 2 programs out there, and it depends on which operating system you use. If you use a 32-bit operating system, you can use Johnny Lee's Wiimote project. Now, his Wiimote project is free, totally supportive, and is really great because it does all the features that the paid ones can do. Now, I unfortunately have the 64-bit operating system. It may not be unfortunate. But I had to actually install Smoothboard Air. Now, the cool thing, though, is Smoothboard Air has this new duo thing, and I'll show you the feature that makes it really cool later. So now that I've got that up and running, I just need to launch whichever program I'm going to be using to integrate the Wii remote into my system. That's Smoothboard. Now, I've already paired the remote up. Now the next key thing that you have to do is calibrate it based off the screen and the location. So remember last time I said if you jostle the table too much, it threw off our readings? This is why. Because if you jostle the table and the map moves, that means our calibration is now off because the Wii Remote's sensing it in a different location than what it really is. So we're going to go ahead and calibrate the system. To calibrate it, you just go ahead and click your IR pen at the 4 points on the screen. Now it's all there. Now with this remote, I can actually manipulate my screen. Now I'm going to show you where that come in handy when you've launched your large tabletop map. Now, as you can see, I have my good guys all over here, and I have my bad guys here. So as you can see, is every time that I select them, I can just use this remote and move my guys across the screen. Now, it's not perfect because currently I only have one Wii Remote up and running, but since I'm using Smoothboard, I can actually calibrate 2 Wii Remotes to get me better view of the IR pen when I use it. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, so I mentioned that Smoothboard has one other really cool feature that will allow you to interact with your table that Johnny's Wiimote project doesn't have. What it does is it gives you this QR code and this IP address. Smoothboard Duo with the IP address using your own network can allow other players to actually interact with your tabletop based off of using their laptop or their phones, which is really cool. Plus it allows them to draw on the map, to circle stuff, and everything else that you could do right at the table. I didn't show you that Smoothboard can actually allow me to write on the screen. What that does is it just gives me one more way to interact, maybe draw in an area, star something saying, hey, there's something right there you guys need to be aware of. And I don't have to worry about it because I can just erase it as I go along. Easy as that. That wraps up the IR pens and Wii Remote interaction with our electronic tabletop mapping system that we talked about last time. If you have any questions or comments about it, just hit me up at thecraftygamergeek@gmail.com. As always, I would like for you to share, subscribe, and, like this video. Like me a lot. It's our 3rd video that we've made here so far. Hopefully we can make a 4th. Speaking of the 4th, I did promise you props, and I'll be bringing those to you next time. So remember that it all starts with an idea, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Have fun. Way to allow your players to move the map around on their own. Now, I don't know what I'm talking about. Why can't I end this video? I just want to end it. Really?